What's up everyone, it's Endymion, and it's everyone's favorite month of the year when companies decide to dial the crank on pandering into overdrive mode. So I thought it would be fun to look into some of the ways brands and companies are bending over backwards in order to seem more inclusive than ever before. So let's begin with a little game called Overwatch 2. In case you didn't know, the entire point of Overwatch 2's existence was meant to include a massive single-player mode with campaign missions and skill trees. This led to Blizzard not only promising to deliver on this exciting idea, but they forcibly took the original Overwatch offline to make way for this brand new spanking version. Fast forward to today, and that single-player experience has been cancelled, leading many to believe that Overwatch 2's existence and the abandonment of the original game's support was all for nothing. But Blizzard, being Blizzard, decided in order to move the conversation away from their piss-poor management of the IP, they instead revealed another ace up their sleeve. Recently, Blizzard announced that yet another pair of Overwatch characters are part of the LGBTQ+ family, with Pharah being confirmed to be lesbian because of course she is. They also made Baptiste into a gay man as well, and the Overwatch fandom responded in kind by stating that Blizzard panders to woke ideologies in order to mask their own practices and incompetent care of the Overwatch brand. Last year, Blizzard has been tangled in a lawsuit where a financial manager ended her own life due to sexual misconduct within the company. The harassment and bullying this poor woman experienced while working at Blizzard led to this tragedy. And when this woman looked to her upper management for help, they denied her, and the rest is history. And of course, there was also the infamous breast milk incident where male employees would steal female employees' breast milk that was kept in company fridges. Which is, yeah, all kinds of gross and weird. But never mind that, guys, don't look at those very real and awful incidents, because Blizzard is currently looking into adding more representation like a transgender hero. Please clap and forget all past screw-ups because of this. It's like whenever Blizzard massively screws up by canceling entire modes and so on, they always have a convenient reveal in hopes it'll smokescreen players into forgetting about it. At this point, Bobby Kotick could throw someone into a wood chipper and drink the remains. And Blizzard will just counter the problem by saying their newest hero goes by they/them pronouns and hopes you'll forget. It's frustrating to accept that companies like this truly do not care about their consumers, and simply pander in order to score brownie points while not changing anything about themselves internally. It's pointless virtue signaling disguised to garner positive reactions. It's also so blatantly corpo made by committee decisions when almost every character in Overwatch's roster is LGBTQ+. But what can we expect from a company that creates their characters using algorithms that weigh whether a character is diverse enough? And it doesn't help that every other day some website is pushing for woke revisionism when it comes to legacy properties as well. Recently, Screen Rant had an article about how a reboot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer could address its complex legacy. What complex legacy, you might be asking? Well, besides the fact that Joss Whedon created the show and was a weirdo using feminism as a shield, a reboot is needed for two other major reasons. One being that the show needs more diversity, and the second that it must erase any trace of masculine energy so it's no longer problematic. Screen Rant goes on to say, and I quote, "A Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot could allow the series to further invest in the positive elements where the original only scratched the surface. This could include fixing the lack of diversity in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and removing the male entitlement rampant throughout the series, particularly in Xander. A reboot could also increase the number of people of color on the show and diversify the core cast, which stands in stark contrast with the minimal black characters in the original. As well as this, a reboot could include more LGBT+ representation and avoid the bury your gays trope that appeared in Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 6, end quote. As you can see, these people have been brainwashed into believing that they can only enjoy things if certain agendas are pushed. Buffy cannot be left alone because it's too white and not diverse enough. And Screen Rant, like so many others like it, refuses to see things for what they are, but instead of how they wish to see it be changed into. Don't believe me? Let's look at the Little Mermaid next. With Disney's latest movie hitting theaters, the reaction to the film domestically has been pretty decent, although it's still not making gangbusters like Disney hoped it would. Across the world, however, The Little Mermaid is getting minced into sushi by audiences, with the movie not quite having the splash overseas. Alright, I'm done with fishy puns for now. Apparently, it's so bad it's being called ratings terrorism. The term is coined by a news source called Korea's SBS News, with the gist being that audiences in Europe, Asia, and so on are rejecting the film due to Disney's political correctness. If you go on IMDb, which aggregates thousands of reviews for films, The Little Mermaid score is nebulous and it's instead replaced by this. Our rating mechanism has detected unusual voting activity on this title. To preserve the reliability of our rating system, an alternate weighting calculation has been applied. So basically, due to the outrage, sites like IMDb are closing off their voting systems in order to protect movies like The Little Mermaid. Although I imagine most of you would agree that calling anyone who doesn't want to watch Little Mermaid a terrorist is, well, it's beyond stupidity, really. Not only that, but also we have Disney being in the news again because of a viral clip showcasing one of their employees who works at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. It's basically a shop for kids to buy dresses while they're at Disneyland, and there's been outrage because one of these employees is a man in a dress with a mustache. So, here, watch.
So my name's Nick. I'm one of Fairy Godmother's apprentices. I'm here to shop you around and make all your selections for the day.
Frankly, at this point, this has all become normal to me. It's clear that Disney's push for representation, inclusivity, and diversity matters far more to them than making money or keeping their investors happy. And when you do things like this, it will lead to backlash because families are sick of having things pushed onto them. The goal is to normalize these things until they become accepted. And while that is within Disney's right as a company to do so, it's also within the customer's right to decide to spend their money on their products as well. So will the bearded man in a dress cause Disney to lose money? Will international audiences continue to reject Disney's latest remake? I guess we'll see. And if you thought we were done with Disney, there's yet another controversy brewing. What could possibly be outraging people about that movie? Is it cause Ariel is black, or that the male characters are sidelined? Nope, it's because Ursula's makeup artist is not gay enough. I wish I was kidding. Apparently, Ursula's makeup should have been done by a gay person, which the makeup artist on The Little Mermaid is offended by, and I mean rightfully so. Makeup artist Peter Swords King, which, by the way, that's a dope-ass name, Swords King? Your middle name is Swords? Unreal. Anyway, Mr. King has pushed back against the woke morons who say he should be replaced because he's straight. King said, and I quote, "I find that very offensive. Why can't I do as good a job as a queer makeup artist? That's ridiculous. They're trying to claim it, and that's fine if that's what they want to do, but don't put people down because they're not what they want it to be. I personally don't get it. Yes, I'm very old now, so that's fine, I get that too, but you know, a makeup artist or makeup designer could design makeup. They don't have to have an attachment to the nature of what they're doing." End quote. This is, unfortunately, the kind of audience that places like Disney push to support. It's no longer about whether a story is good, but only about checking boxes when it comes to identity. Who cares if Ursula's makeup was done by a straight man? Does it offend you that the house you live in was very likely made by a straight man as well? Are you offended that the device you're watching this video on was likely designed by a man too? Or does it offend you that the food you eat was likely cultivated by farmers, many whom are likely straight as well? This selective outrage is beyond parody at this point. It's makeup, for the love of God. Who cares who does Ursula's makeup? She looks like Ursula, and that should be enough. I thought the drag community was welcoming to people, but I guess not. But at least X-Men fans are totally rational and not insane at all, right? Right? Well, it turns out in the upcoming X-Men animated TV show, fans are mad because the mutant Sunspot is being voiced by someone whose skin isn't dark enough. In yet another ass-backwards way, the very fandoms Disney cultivates have lashed out again. Guy Augustini voices Sunspot in the X-Men '97 reboot. Apparently, this is bad because Sunspot is a Brazilian-born character whose skin is dark. And Augustini is very clearly not dark-skinned himself. But the hilarious part is that Sunspot's voice actor is also Brazilian. So the only problem here is that the person voicing the character in an animated TV show, where you won't ever see the color of the actor's skin, is somehow important in representing this character, even though both Sunspot and Augustine are Brazilian. What? At this point, if you have a character in an animated show that has a peg leg, these woke idiots will moan that they better get someone who also has a stick for a leg, otherwise it isn't authentic enough. And like I've said in a previous video, this moronic fascination with voice actors needing to be like the characters they voice goes completely against the entire concept of voice acting. No one cares that Christopher Judge, a black man, voiced and performed as Kratos in God of War, who's a literal Greek guy with skin as white as snow. Nobody cares that Ashley Williams from Mass Effect is voiced by Kimberly Brooks, who looks nothing like the character either. Or what about an Elden Ring's case with Millennia, who's voiced by Pippa Bennett Warner? Should From Software be crucified because they didn't hire a white woman with a rot disease to play Millennia? No? Then why does this matter? Sunspot is voiced by a Brazilian guy. What the hell more do you want? The entire point of voice acting is to play characters with the versatility that is our voices. Nobody tell these idiots that the Ninja Turtles in their new movie are voiced by humans. They might end up popping a blood vessel at that crazy revelation. My point here is that this is complete nonsense. If the voice suits the character, then it doesn't matter, it's a voice. My god, dude, you can't appease these people no matter what you do. The problem with all of these toxic fandoms and their hollow virtue signaling nonsense proves that no matter what you do, no matter how much goodwill you garner or bending over backwards you perform to appease them, they will always eat their own the moment they step out of line. This is why I don't even consider most of these communities that consider themselves tolerant or inclusive as communities. They're literally just cults that consist of insane weirdos that only associate with people who are carbon copy cutouts of themselves. No amount of pandering will appease these freaks. Overwatch could add a wheelchair-bound, non-binary Indian woman with blue hair and a Black Lives Matter t-shirt sewn into their chest. And there will still be people that'll complain that it's not inclusive enough. I can't wait for the eventual Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot where every main character is a gay woman, and the main villain is either a misunderstood female or a straight white man. And whenever they remake The Nightmare Before Christmas, they better get a literal dead person to do the makeup, otherwise it's offensive to non-alive people because Jack Skellington is a corpse. In the end, the pandering of these companies continues to go in directions even I can't predict at this point. You cannot appease these people, and with Pride Month upon us, it's about to get nuclear with the pandering we're about to witness. I'm not even mad anymore when making these videos, to be real with you, because this stuff is honestly so absurd it's beyond comedy for me. I wish I could write a joke as funny as some of these scenarios. Sunspot's actor isn't black enough. Ursula's makeup is done by someone who doesn't like kissing men, so it's bad now? Just, good lord. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. As you can see, the absurdity is just getting funnier and funnier. So instead of worrying about it, I hope this video and the others I've made bring some joy in your life, as it hopefully reassures you that you're not crazy. It's just the world around you that has gone nuts. The lunatics are truly running the asylum, my friends, and I'm just here to watch in morbid curiosity like the rest of you. So, thank you for watching, like the video, subscribe for more goofy nonsense like this, happy Pride Month I guess, and I'll see you in the next one.